guys, Jess here. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone that retweeted and shouted me out on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook for my first video last week, which was so nerve-wracking because I've never done this before. It's different to be like outgoing in person, but the camera just makes you feel like, is this really me? Am I acting like me? I don't know. But I'm just going to keep going, and hopefully this weirdness will pass for me. But I'm just going to get into it. So last week I posted a video, a little intro video, kind of talking about the big picture of what I would like to get to and where I would like you ladies to get to, and what I want you to learn to recognize, and hopefully I can help you along your journey. What I wanted to get into today, this is going to be the first episode of the Women's Wholeness series. Today I wanted to get into, if you want to take notes or kind of type this down in your phone, I'll let you know like what's a good bullet point to write down. So this one is going to be called just recognizing a void, or recognizing that we're functioning out of an incompleteness. And I feel like it's important to recognize our own patterns that point to that before we can focus on healing in those areas. So why is it so important to be functioning out of a place that is whole versus a place that is incomplete or void or lacking? When we're functioning from a place that is whole, and by whole I mean from a confident place, not from a place of insecurity, from a place that is not necessarily fully healed from childhood trauma or adult trauma, but recognizes maybe ways that we react to certain things based on that, like have been through therapy and kind of in a place where we can recognize maybe why we're doing something, whether it's from fight or flight or like something from our childhood. I would consider that a place of wholeness, because once you can recognize patterns, it's pretty much in a place where it's on its way to healing, and recognizing that will keep you from functioning outside of that. So again, completeness, secure, accepting of things that you've been through and accepting of who you are now. And a place of incompleteness would be kind of going through life, not facing things that you've been through, and seeing ugly behavior and anger. Anger is a big sign of incompleteness, and making decisions that are erratic, hard to keep a pattern, hard to stay consistent with things, always all over the place. That could be a form of distraction, which could also represent like incompleteness. So why is it so important to function out of a place of completeness versus a place of incompleteness? So when we're functioning out of completeness, we're not making a decision based off of filling up something we're lacking. So say I have an option for a new job and I'm functioning out of a place of completeness, right? And the job that I'm offered may not be the best decision. But because I'm functioning out of a place of completeness, I don't feel that sporadic need to jump to something else because I'm depressed or because I feel like something's missing, and I'm just going to quickly jump to this next thing because it's going to make me feel good. That's a sign of incompleteness. Doing something based off of a feeling that you'll get, a high that you'll get from a decision that you'll make, without weighing why that may not be a good decision to make. And then functioning from a place of incompleteness would be jumping to that job because it's going to make me feel good. So, where we are physically, spiritually, emotionally plays a big role in, the course that our life is going to take, because when we make decisions, when our love meter, our happiness meter, our health meter is full, we're less likely to make a mistake. Versus when we're making a decision, when those bars are all the way down to 0, we're more likely to make a mistake because that decision might give us a bit of adrenaline or jumpstart those things that are lacking to make us feel like, okay, we made the right decision, when in reality, we might have not made the right decision because we're not functioning out of a place of wholeness. I'm going to talk about 3 telltale signs that maybe we're functioning out of an incompleteness. And one of them I know for me was basing decisions that I had to make off of what other people would say about it. So an example would be, I'm really tired, but someone asked me to go to an event. Now, I know that my body needs rest and I have a busy day at work tomorrow, right? But that insecurity meter might be low enough for me to think about the fact, oh, but that person is going to get so mad at me if I don't come, or they're not going to understand. And I put my health and my next day of work in jeopardy to make that other person not mad at me. That's functioning out of an insecurity, which if that meter was full, I could have made the right decision to say, you know what, I'm going to respect my decision to stay home because I have work tomorrow. If you don't understand, that's okay. It's kind of like our decision and our happiness is based off of whether that person applauds the thing that we did or says, sorry, there was a gnat in my face, or says, do better next time. And who we are and how we feel about ourselves shouldn't be determined by someone else. So that's a big telltale sign of an incompleteness. And, I would love to see people get to a point where the decisions that are made that are best for them aren't influenced at all by what other people would think or what they want for you. That's a big one too. Asking people's advice too much. I remember feeling that way and kind of feeling like I had to do the thing that, people said was right. Because, that has to be right if other people are saying it. And that's also functioning out of an insecurity. And with that meter low, you might make the wrong decision for you. So it's not making your decisions off of what other people think you should do. You need to get to a place where you don't need to ask for that. You know what's best for your body, your spirit, your mind, your heart. So people getting mad, saying, oh, I have to go to this because people are going to get mad. That's not a good place to function out of, because that's going to lead you to do the wrong thing for you. Also, another thing to pay attention to, and this is kind of a side note if you want to jot this down. A lot of times when we're trying to change patterns or habits, there's a part of our brain that's called the critter brain. And it's the part of our brain that keeps us safe and protects us. And it's kind of like our bodyguard. So it does not like change. And your critter brain will do anything it can to keep you from changing your patterns. Because what your critter brain tells you is, we've been doing this way for so long and we're still here. So I don't want you to change anything. And it's that voice in your head that says, oh, but I'm comfortable going here, or I'm comfortable doing this. This is what I know. You have to learn to recognize that part of your brain, because that part of your brain will keep you from stepping out of comfort zones that could further push you further forward in the direction that you want to go. That's a side note. And I can get more into that if you guys want to leave a comment or whatever. I can talk about that some more. I learned that from my health and life coaching certification, which is become a big thing with women that I'm coaching, learning how to step outside of your critter brain and kind of recognize that voice versus your own spiritual voice. I have some notes up here. What else? Yeah, so this is actually the biggest one, and I can't believe I had to look at my notes to remember this. I think the biggest telltale sign of functioning out of an incompleteness is chasing a high. And whether that high is, that high is not necessarily a drug, a drug that you're taking. Let me put it this way. I feel like the greatest way to recognize this one is you're faced with a decision, and this decision will totally derail every moral thing that you hold dear. It will put your goals on the back burner. It will completely derail everything that you hold near and dear, but you do it anyway because it'll feel good. Now, on paper, I'm sure everyone would be able to recognize that this decision would not make sense. But when we're functioning out of a place that is void, we will derail anything to fill that meter up. Because feeling better in that moment is way more important than that job you're trying to get. The new moral standpoint that you hold yourself to. And that is a big representative of functioning out of an incompleteness. Now, everyone is going to have their different ways to recognize an incompleteness, but I think it's so important for maybe take 5 minutes a day this week to just recognize areas that maybe you feel like your decisions are guided by something else other than what you want for yourself in the future. Because if it doesn't go along with the plan that you see for yourself and the plan that God has for you, then it's coming from somewhere else. And usually it's something that you shouldn't be allowing to influence you. And I know this is a lot to chew and a lot to take in, but it's the reality of, it's not a weakness. It's something that's been instilled in us from when we were kids, or a traumatic experience that left our love meters low, so that, when we're functioning in that area, we tend to just chase highs to quickly fill those up. And we find ourselves going in circles, just filling those up and filling voids because we need to feel good. And you're not alone. I believe most of the world functions this way. But it's not until we learn to recognize the things that we're lacking that are causing us to make rash decisions, that are putting us not in the direction that we want to be going. And I think it's time that we get off this merry-go-round. And the only person that can recognize the things that are lacking is you. And until you recognize those things, you're not going to be able to make conscious decisions that actually have you making steps forward versus just around in circles. I know this is kind of heavy, but it's so important to not only just start the work, but you need to know where you're starting. And this is a good way to kind of skim the surface of, hey, I didn't even know that was an issue for me. And it's these little realizations that make us grow. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry if I ramble. Once I get going on a topic, it's kind of just from there. So I will be posting again next Thursday. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, I know I don't have too many videos yet, but I'm going to keep going. You can subscribe, and I would be so grateful because I'm a YouTube newbie. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next week. Bye.